Hello everyone. Okay, so this question here, question 2, required us how to read graphs, draw graphs, and find percentage increase of something. So, question 2, let's get cracking for the 2023 Junior Cycle exam. So, a company sells t-shirts on a website. Sometimes when people buy a t-shirt, they return it again to get their money back. The diagram below shows the following information for an 8-month period. SN, the numbers of t-shirts sold on the website in month N, and or N, the number of t-shirts sold in a month N that were returned. For n is an element of natural numbers, so n is a natural number, so that makes sense. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like we don't have half a month, and n is less than or equal to 8. All values are rounded to the nearest 50 to make it easier for ourselves. So here's our graph. How many t-shirts were sold in month 1? So we have to look at our key here, right? So if we see here, we're looking for sold. So therefore, we're looking at the red graph. So we're going to look at the red graph. So we see here in month 1. So we're going to go to month 1 here. And we're going to go up and we're going to read it. And it's going to be 300. So they sold 300 t-shirts in month 1. Right, so that's a handy dandy question there. How many t-shirts were returned in month 2? So again, now we're looking at returned, right? Now we're looking at the blue graph here. So month 2. Now, so we'll go to 2 on my x-axis because it's the months. Go here, go up, 50. So 50 t-shirts were returned in month 2. And that was all was needed for part A. Part B, which month had the greatest increase in the number of t-shirts sold compared to the previous month? So we are now looking for the greatest increase. So which month had the biggest jump in selling t-shirts? So let's have a look here. So the biggest jump, well, I think it's very apparent. It's from month 6 to month 7. Because we're jumping up from 400 to... We're jumping up 150, aren't we? Yeah, we're jumping up 150 t-shirts sold. And I think that's correct. Because look here, from month 1 to 2, he didn't sell any extra t-shirts. Month 2 to 3, sold an extra 50. 3 to 4, sold an extra 50. 4 to 5, sold an extra 50. 5 to 6, he didn't sell... He sold 50 less. But then... From month 6 to 7, he sold 150 more. So I think from month 6 to 7, so what's the greatest increase? It was 150. Right, so which month had the greatest increase compared to the previous month? Well, then it's going to be month 7. Month 7 had the greatest increase compared to the previous month. So month 7. Complete the table below to show the number of t-shirts that were not returned each month. For example, 350 t-shirts were not returned in month 6. So we need to complete a table of values for t-shirts that were not returned. So we need to get my values here. So if we look here, month 1, we sold 300, 50 were returned. So how many were not returned? 250. Right, so let me make a note of that for myself. So 250. Month 2 is the same. So 300 were sold, 50 were returned. So 250 were not returned. Month 3, 350 were sold, 50 were returned. So 300 were not returned. Month 4, 400 were sold, but 100 were returned. So 400 minus 100 is 300. So 300 t-shirts were not returned. Month 5, 450 were sold. 100 were returned. So 450 minus 100 is 350. And month 7. So we sold 550. Right, because I'm reading from the graph here if you're wondering. Sold 550. We returned 100. So 550 minus 100 is 450. So 450 t-shirts weren't returned. And finally, month 8. Again, we sold 550 t-shirts in month 8. We were only returned 50 of them. So 550 minus 50 is 500. So 500 t-shirts were not returned. Part D. On the given diagram, draw a graph to show the number of t-shirts that were not returned each month for the 8 months using the same axis and scale. So now I need to plot these points on the graph above. So I'm going to use like an orange, I think. You don't have to do key, but I'm just doing it here. Not returned. So, first month, 250 weren't returned. Second month, again, 250 weren't returned. The third month, 300 weren't returned. Fourth month, 300 weren't returned. Fifth month, 450 minus 100, 350 weren't returned. Sixth month, 350 weren't returned. Seventh month, so 450 weren't returned. And the 8th month, 450 not returned. So there, my orange dots are my not returned graph. So I'm just going to connect the points up now, because you're probably going to lose marks if you didn't connect them up. There, and there's my graph of t-shirts not returned. And finally, which one? Which month had a greater percentage increase in the number of t-shirts sold compared to the previous month? Month 3 or month 5? Justify your answer. So we have to pick which one had a greater percentage increase, month 3 or month 5 from things sold. So let's look at month 3. So month 3, we sold 50 more t-shirts than the previous month. And then month 5, we sold 50 more from the previous month as well. So we need to work out the percentage increase, which has the greatest percentage increase. So even though they went up the same amount, they didn't have the same percentage increase, right? So, the amount necessarily didn't go up like 20% each. You know, they just went up 50 shirts each, but 50 shirts compared to like as a percentage of 300 is way different than 50 shirts as a percentage of 400. So we have to be careful of that. So percentage increase. Month 3. So we went up 50. So remember, percentage increase is the increase over original amount times 100%. So but the percentage increase for month 3, well, I went up 50, and the original amount, so I went up 50 from, like on month 2, 250. So I went up 50 from 250. So what percentage increase did I go up? I went up 20%. Right, so my percentage increase from month 2 to month 3 was 20%. Now let's look at percentage increase from month 5. Month 5, so I went up 50, but the previous month I sold 400. So my increase was 50. My original amount was 400. So that is going to be 5 over 40, which is 1/8. Ugh, let me get my calculator out for this. I hate multiplying by 8s. Wait a minute. And the answer here is going to be 12.5%. So which had the greatest percentage increase? Well, it's going to be month 3, and there's my justification there. So we went up 20% sales from month 2 to 3, while in month 5 we only went up 12.5% sales. So even though they both sold 50 more t-shirts, it's actually more impressive they went from 250 to 300 than from 400 to 450. Right, and that is this question done. I hope this helped, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.